Hey there guys, Brayden here, and today we're taking a look at the Safari Ltd Daspletosaurus. I'm gonna be real with you guys. 2021, which is the year this guy came out, was a pretty weak year for Safari, in my opinion. After the 2020 lineup, which was fantastic, I think one of Safari's absolute best lineups since the 2017 lineup, 2021 was COVID happened. COVID happened, and it fucked over everyone's plans, because it's pretty clear that Safari went through some financial issues then, because only 3 new figures were there for 2021, and I don't think any of the figures from the 2021 the lineup look bad, but they're also all just theropods, and after a while you kind of get theropoded out, especially since they didn't use really any interesting theropods, just kind of a couple of theropods that we've seen quite a lot, like Baryonyx and Spinosaurus, and we've seen plenty of those. Daspletosaurus was kind of the odd one out of that group, because you don't really see that many Daspletosaurus models out there. I know Collecta, I think, did one, but I think that was about it, and I guess Safari decided Daspletosaurus was a good choice, although if you were going to do a Tyrannosaur, I don't know, I would have picked one maybe a little more interesting, a little more obscure, because Daspletosaurus isn't exactly a common sight in the figure world, but it's also not a particularly interesting looking Tyrannosaur. It's kind of just similar body type to T-Rex, maybe a little bit more on the thin side, but overall pretty similar to Tyrannosaurus. Anyways, but let's take a look at the figure for what it is. It's painted in sort of this sort of muddy brown, yellow-orange. I do like the striping down the tail and the legs, and I like the blue eyes. In general, I think this figure actually looks really good detailing-wise. The little scalation detail, it's very well done overall. I think that the detail on this figure is top-notch. It's really well done. I appreciate the detailing. The teeth are painted, which sounds like a low bar to hit, but a lot of companies don't bother to do that. Claws are painted on both the hands and the feet. Just a very nice looking figure. Also, I don't know why they bothered to paint that cloaca so detailed, but they did. That was a choice. My biggest complaints with the figure are just kind of how generic it looks. Like, the color scheme isn't bad, but it's also not particularly, like, eye-catching. The Albertosaurus they would do in 2022 has kind of a similar issue with me in that it's not a particularly interesting-looking Tyrannosaur, but they colored it very nicely, I think, from the images I've seen of it. It could be one of those examples where, if I actually get the figure in hand, it will look far worse. I don't know, because I don't own that figure. And then the other issue is, like a lot of Safari's theropods, this guy, or girl, I guess, has issues with balancing. Yeah. When I was, because I had these guys on my desk, this guy and the figures I reviewed in the last 2 videos, and I figure I'm going to be reviewing soon, just on my desk, because I was just trying to, get a feel for them. Any little movement on my desk would knock them over, would knock this one over. The other figures were quadrupeds, so they didn't need to worry about being knocked over, but Daspletosaurus here being a biped and having nothing really propping them up, knocked over, like, every 2 minutes. I'm kind of annoyed I didn't keep the stand they came in. Though, in fairness, they don't have it quite as bad as, say, the 2017 Dinocyrus or the 2017 Tyrannosaurus in its repaint. But overall, I really would only recommend this figure to people who are really big fans of Daspletosaurus, because I'm not a huge fan of Daspletosaurus. I don't hate it. I don't really hate any dinosaur. It's just, I mainly got this one because it was the only figure from the 2021 lineup that wasn't a Spinosaur. But overall, I can't say this is one of Safari's absolute best figures, but like I said in the Into Therium review, worst of Safari is still Safari, so it's still a good figure. So if you're interested in Daspletosaurus, you might want to go ahead and get this one. If you're not interested, then you can easily skip this guy.